In the endless dark of the galaxy, stars glittered like silent guardians. Space stretched vast and eternal, carrying stories older than any empire. Among these stories was one that many civilizations whispered but never ignored, the story of Earth. On the official star charts of countless races, Earth's solar system was marked with a strange symbol. It was not the usual sign for a black hole or a dangerous radiation zone. Instead, it was a warning mark carved in red. To the untrained eye, it looked meaningless. But for those who studied interstellar navigation, the mark carried a single message: stay away. Generations of alien travelers had respected this command. Some passed near the system but never entered. Others avoided even the nearby routes, taking longer paths around. The reason was not fully written in the records. Some claimed fleets had vanished there without explanation. Others said strange energy bursts had destroyed mighty ships. Whatever the truth, the legend of Earth became a quiet rule of survival: never trespass into that region. But arrogance is often louder than wisdom. Far across the stars, the Arkan Dominion ruled with pride. The Arkans were tall, scaled beings with minds sharp as blades and a belief that no species could rival them. Their empire stretched across hundreds of systems. To them, warnings on maps were nothing but the fearful marks of weaker races. When a council of officers presented the chart with Earth's red symbol, the High Commander of the Dominion, Lord Zyren, laughed. His voice echoed through the chamber, filled with disdain. "Look at this," he said, raising the holographic image of the solar system. "A single blue planet marked as forbidden? Do you expect me to fear a primitive world of mammals and oceans? This is superstition, nothing more." His officers hesitated. A few of them shifted uncomfortably. One of them, a seasoned strategist named Varlo, dared to speak. "My lord, there are records of expeditions that never returned. The Trinax fleet sent scouts centuries ago. None were ever seen again. Even the Orcs clans refused to enter the system after—" Zyren cut him off with a glare. "Cowards tell ghost stories. We are Arkans. Our fleets are unmatched. Our weapons burn worlds. Do you think a planet of simple creatures can stand against us? No. Earth will serve as our next conquest, and its people will kneel." The council chamber fell silent. None dared to challenge the High Commander further. Soon preparations began. Across the Dominion, the news spread. The Arkans were sending a fleet to claim Earth's region. Engineers polished warships. Soldiers sharpened their blades and calibrated plasma rifles. Every member of the fleet believed the mission would be quick, almost laughably easy. "Primitive humans," they muttered. "They won't last a day." And yet in the dark corners of the Dominion, whispers spread. Some remembered the old warnings. Some wondered if arrogance would finally bring disaster. But in an empire built on pride, no one dared to speak too loudly. The fleet departed with thunder. Hundreds of ships shaped like spears of steel leapt into faster-than-light travel. Stars blurred into streaks as they pierced the void. The lead ship carried Lord Zyren himself, watching the stars with ambition burning in his eyes. As the fleet neared the solar system, the mood remained confident. The Arkans expected to see a fragile world barely able to defend itself, but the moment they entered the system, unease crept in. Strange signals filled their scanners. The usual quiet of space was broken by bursts of coded transmissions, echoing like ghosts through the void. Some signals were clear, in simple patterns. Others seemed deliberately scrambled, as though someone was playing tricks with their instruments. Varlo, the strategist, studied the data with a frown. "These are not natural signals. They are placed here. Someone wants us to be confused." "Tricks of a weak species," Zyren replied with disdain. "They try to frighten us before battle. Ignore it." Still, the crew could not ignore the tension. The fleet passed the orbit of Neptune, its distant blue shadow drifting silently. As they advanced toward the inner planets, one of the scout ships reported strange readings near the asteroid belt. The captain requested to investigate. Permission was granted. Hours later, the scout ship vanished from their trackers. No explosion was detected. No distress call was received. It was simply gone. The fleet was shaken, though Zyren refused to admit it. "Malfunction," he declared. "The ship must have lost its engines." "We continue." But whispers spread among the soldiers. They remembered the warnings. They remembered the red symbol on the charts. From far away, humans watched. Earth had been preparing for this day for years. Satellites hidden deep within the asteroid belt tracked the alien fleet. Old divisions among nations had been set aside. Humanity was not united by politics or ideology anymore. It was united by survival. In underground command centers, men and women studied every move of the Arkan fleet. Their technology was not as advanced. Their ships were smaller, slower, and weaker. But humans carried something no alien empire could match: imagination. Captain Elias Grant stood in the command bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. Before him, holograms of the solar system flickered. Bright red icons marked the alien fleet. Blue markers represented hidden human defenses. "They've taken the bait," Elias said, watching the Arkans move closer to the asteroid belt. "Just like we hoped." Beside him, Commander Aisha Rahman nodded. "They think we're weak. That's our weapon." The humans had laid traps throughout the asteroid belt. Old satellites had been refitted as decoys, sending confusing signals. Mining drones had been rebuilt as automated ambush units. Even abandoned cargo ships were disguised as warcraft, their hulls filled with explosives. Humanity had learned from centuries of war on their own planet. Strategy was not always about strength. It was about deception, creativity, and patience. And now those lessons would be tested against an empire that thought itself untouchable. Back in space, the Arkan fleet pressed forward. "Scanners picking up false readings everywhere," an officer reported. "Dozens of ships ahead. No, wait, they vanish. Are they real or not?" Barlow studied the data. His eyes narrowed. "This is deliberate. They're hiding among the ast, you said. Part 2. 1300 words ka lekho or interesting hona chahiye or third-person style ma lekhni hai, or simple basic English ka. Don't use any violated word. So please avoid any violated content," ChatGPT said. "All right." I'll now continue the story with Part 2, First Contact with Resistance. Written in simple English third-person style, around 1300 words, and fully engaging without any violated content. Here's the full continuation. Part 2, First Contact with Resistance. The Arkans entered the asteroid belt with confidence. Their warships, lined like polished blades, glided through the shadows of rock and ice. For centuries, this empire had faced countless enemies, but none had ever challenged them in space itself. To the Arkans, the asteroid belt seemed like nothing more than an obstacle, just scattered rocks floating in silence. But silence can be deceiving. On board the flagship Dominion Spear, High Commander Zyron stood tall on the command deck, his golden armor reflecting the pale glow of the nearest star. He looked out through the massive viewing screen and sneered at the endless field of asteroids. "Look at this," he said. "A graveyard of stone. A perfect place for cowards to hide." Barlow, his chief strategist, stood beside him with arms folded. His voice was calm but troubled. "Graveyards are not always empty, my lord. Something is wrong here. The signals we detected were too precise. Someone led us into this place." Siren laughed, the sound sharp and cold. "Led us or begged us? You give these humans too much credit. They are primitive creatures still tied to their planet. What can they do against the might of the Dominion?" Yet even as he spoke, unease spread among the officers. The asteroids seemed to move oddly, as though shadows shifted where they should not. The scanners reported strange metallic objects hidden among the rocks. At first, they looked like fragments of old mining equipment. But some of those fragments were not as broken as they appeared. Suddenly, alarms rang through the fleet. "Contact!" shouted one officer. Multiple small crafts moving between the asteroids, fast, irregular. The screen lit up with dozens of tiny blue signals darting between the red icons of the Arkan ships. The alien officers leaned closer, confused. "What are they?" Siren demanded. "Unidentified," the officer replied. "Too small to be warships. They appear improvised." Improvised or not, those crafts moved like hunters. From a hidden control center beneath the asteroid belt, Captain Elias Grant gave the order. "Engage the swarm." With a flick of switches and the push of buttons, unmanned drones sprang to life. They were not sleek or advanced like alien fighters. Some were converted mining drones with weapons strapped to their frames. Others were old satellites with boosters added to their sides. A few were nothing more than flying bombs guided by remote signals, but each one carried purpose. They rushed at the Arkans in a storm of motion. Lasers fired from unexpected angles, striking at weak points. Explosives detonated near engines, sending shockwaves through the void. The Arkans, used to facing organized fleets, found themselves swarmed by chaotic machines that did not fight like soldiers, but like tricksters. Inside the Dominion Spear, Zyron roared, "Destroy them! Crush these toys!" Arkan warships opened fire. Their plasma cannons burned bright, tearing through the swarm. Dozens of drones exploded. The asteroid belt had become a battlefield unlike any the Archons had ever faced. What had once seemed a silent stretch of cold rock was now a maze of danger, alive with human ingenuity. The Archons, who had conquered countless worlds without resistance, found themselves disoriented, trapped in a web of unpredictability. High Commander Xiron paced the command deck of the Dominion Spear, his golden armor gleaming under the light of distant stars. Around him, officers reported on each engagement, their voices tense. "Another scout ship destroyed, my lord," said one officer. "It seems the humans are anticipating our every move." Xiron slammed a scaled fist against the console. Anticipating? They are primitive creatures. How can they predict the actions of the mightiest fleet in this galaxy? Varlo, standing calmly beside him, shook his head. "It is not prediction, my lord. They do not follow patterns. Each attack is different, unexpected. It is improvisation." Xiron froze for a moment, realizing the weight of the word. Improvisation. No empire, no machine, no algorithm could fully anticipate a species that could adapt on the fly. Meanwhile, deep within the asteroid belt, humans continued their resistance. Captain Elias Grant directed the next phase of the defense. "Deploy the shadow drones," he ordered. These were not ordinary drones. Some were equipped with small thrusters, allowing them to mimic the movement of asteroids. Others carried holographic emitters that projected fake ships, creating confusion among the Archons. Still others were packed with electromagnetic pulses capable of disabling enemy sensors for brief moments. The humans had learned that the Archons relied on coordination and communication. Disrupt that, and even the strongest ships could be vulnerable. The drones surged forward, disappearing among the rocks. From the Archons' perspective, ships seemed to vanish into thin air. Red lights flashed and alarms blared across the fleet. The Archons opened fire, but the blast hit nothing but empty space, or so it seemed. "Where are they?" an officer shouted. "Our scanners show nothing." "They are hiding in plain sight," Varlo said quietly. "Or something more than hiding. They are controlling the battlefield." On the human side, Commander Aisha Rahman monitored the situation from the operations center. She observed the Archons' frustration with satisfaction. "They're losing control," she said. "The more predictable they try to be, the more they fall into our traps." Elias nodded. "Exactly. Let them think they can force the fight. We'll turn it against them. Initiate Phase 2. The Corridor Strike." In this tactic, humans would funnel portions of the Arcan fleet through narrow asteroid channels. There, they would encounter concentrated ambushes from multiple directions at once. Small drones, remotely guided by humans, zipped between the massive ships, striking engines, weapons, and sensor arrays with precision. The Archons could fire all their weapons, but the attacks came from every angle at once, never in patterns, never predictable. For the first time, a portion of the fleet began to panic. Ships collided with asteroids. Some engines overheated from repeated evasive maneuvers. Communications broke down as the humans used electromagnetic pulses to scramble signals. "Retreat!" Xiron bellowed. "Form defensive formations. Do not lose control." But the humans had already anticipated that reaction. The asteroid corridors twisted and shifted. Hidden drones intercepted and delayed the fleet's maneuvers. Every escape path led into another layer of traps. Among the chaos, a young Archon officer, Lieutenant Varric, realized something terrifying. "My lord," he said, his voice trembling, "they are not just defending. They are learning from each attack and changing instantly. Each time we adapt, they do too differently. It is impossible to predict them." Xiron's eyes narrowed. "Impossible? No species is impossible. We will crush them. The Dominion does not fail." But deep inside, a seed of doubt had been planted. Back on Earth, humans coordinated their operations with astonishing precision. From underground command centers and orbital stations, engineers, strategists, and soldiers worked together in harmony. Every drone, every trap, every diversion was connected in a web of strategy. And yet it was not rigid. It changed constantly, reacting to the Archons' moves in real time. Captain Elias Grant watched as a formation of Arcan warships became trapped between two asteroid corridors. He smiled faintly. "They think they can force the fight in straight lines," he said. "Let's remind them that space is not straight." With a command, drones detached from hidden positions and surged from above and below. Their movements were unpredictable, like fish weaving through a current. Explosives detonated in precise sequences, tearing engines and armor apart. The Archon's plasma beams cut through empty space, striking nothing but rocks. In less than an hour, the corridor strike destroyed 3 of the Archon's major warships and damaged 5 more. Another 20 ships had suffered minor but cumulative damage, slowing their advance. Inside the Dominion Spear, Xirin's rage was palpable. His fleet, which had once been confident and unstoppable, now appeared vulnerable. "Fall back!" he shouted. "Pull out and regroup. The humans are cunning beyond measure." Varlo approached cautiously. "My lord, I warned you." The red mark on the charts was not superstition. "This species, they are different." Xirin's eyes blazed. "Different? No, they are just clever. We will outfight cleverness with strength. I will not be defeated by rodents." But even as he spoke, he knew the truth he refused to admit. These humans did not fight like any species he had ever encountered. Their attacks were not about power alone. They were about thinking in ways the Archons could not. And thinking differently was something no weapon could fully counter. On Earth, the mood was tense but focused. Elias and Aisha knew the Archons would not give up easily. They would come back stronger, more cautious, more brutal. Humanity had to be ready for the next phase. "We've slowed them," Aisha said. "But the war is only beginning. They will strike again, and it will be even more dangerous." Elias nodded. "Then we prepare. Every asteroid, every satellite, every piece of space near Earth will be part of the defense. And if they underestimate us again, we will surprise them." Below the surface, engineers worked tirelessly to repair drones, improve weapons, and enhance communications. Scientists studied the Archon's weapons, learning their weaknesses, and immediately implemented countermeasures. Unlike the Archons, humans did not assume a single victory would end the battle. Each step was preparation for the next, a constant evolution. Back in space, Xirin ordered his fleet into formation once more. He hoped that sheer size and firepower would intimidate the humans into surrender. But as the Archons advanced, more ambushes awaited. Mines hidden on asteroids detonated at intervals, sending explosions that threw warships off course. Drones darted in unpredictable patterns, striking sensors, engines, and weapon systems simultaneously. Even the asteroid field seemed to work against the invaders, moving as if guided by human hands. Varlo, analyzing the battle, whispered, "It is as if the entire belt is alive. They fight like shadows, using the darkness and silence as weapons." Xirin, unable to ignore the mounting losses, bellowed, "Enough! This is no longer a game. Destroy them all!" But even with the Archon's orders, the humans continued to adapt. Every strike was met with a counter. Every maneuver met with another unexpected twist. Their advantage was not in numbers, not in weapons, but in the ability to think differently. By the end of the day, the Archons had suffered significant losses. Entire divisions were reduced to drifting wrecks. The survivors were demoralized and confused. Never before had they faced an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move. Not through foresight, but through improvisation. Xirin's pride was shaken, but his anger remained. "We will return stronger," he hissed. "These humans are clever, but no species can resist the Dominion forever. We will break them." Varlo, still calm, observed the battlefield one last time. "Perhaps, my lord, it is not strength that breaks empires. Perhaps it is understanding the enemy, or failing to do so." Xirin did not answer. He stared at the red dots representing his damaged ships and the blue symbols of human resistance. Deep inside, he felt the first real fear he had ever known, not for his life, but for the Dominion itself. And in the darkness of the asteroid belt, humans prepared for the next wave, ready to prove once again that ingenuity, courage, and unity could challenge even the most powerful empire in the galaxy. The War of Shadows had only just begun. The battle for the solar system had grown intense, far beyond what anyone could have imagined. The asteroid belt was littered with the wreckage of Archon warships, each one a testament to the cunning of humanity. Yet for all their victories so far, humans knew the Archons would not give up easily.
High above Earth,
The surviving Archons fled in disarray, their pride shattered and their fleets battered. For the first time in generations, the Dominion faced defeat not from firepower, but from something far more dangerous: human ingenuity. Across the vastness of space, scattered warships drifted helplessly, unable to coordinate, unable to predict the next move. High Commander Xirin gripped the edge of his command console, his golden armor dulled by smoke and battle scars. His eyes, once blazing with the certainty of conquest, now flickered with doubt. Every plan he had made had been anticipated, every maneuver countered, every weapon redirected against him. For the first time he felt fear, not for himself but for the empire he had led for centuries. Barlow, standing silently beside him, finally spoke. "My lord, and we were warned. The humans are different. Their strength is not in power but in thought, in unity, and in adaptability." Siren's jaws clenched. "No species can withstand the dominion forever. We will strike again. We will rebuild and return." But even he knew deep inside that the arrogance which had driven them to Earth had blinded them to the truth. Humans were not weak. Humans were not predictable. Humans were not to be dismissed. Back on Earth, Captain Elias Grant and Commander Aisha Rahman watched the remnants of the Arkan fleet retreat. From the command bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, every screen displayed the aftermath. Drifting warships, disabled engines, shattered communications. "They're running," Aisha said, relief mixing with caution, "but we can't assume this is over. The Dominion will try again, and they will come with everything they have left." Elias nodded. "Perhaps. But for now, we've shown them what it means to underestimate Earth." The humans had not only survived, but they had turned the tide of the battle entirely. Their tactics had been simple in principle. Use intelligence, improvisation, and unity to counter superior technology. Yet the execution was flawless, a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. In the days that followed, humanity pursued the Arkans, not to conquer, but to ensure the safety of the solar system. Covert operations targeted stragglers, disabled engines, and intercepted communications, leaving no possibility for regrouping. Humans did not strike in anger. They struck to defend. Each action was calculated, precise, and humane. Elias and Aisha watched as the last Arkan ships vanished into the dark of space. A silence settled over the command bunker, heavy yet filled with accomplishment. "They've lost more than just ships," Aisha said quietly. "Their arrogance, their belief that they could conquer us. It's gone." Elias smiled faintly. "And that is the real victory. Power without understanding is fragile. Humans have shown that courage, intelligence, and cooperation can defeat even the greatest empire." Across the galaxy, news of the Arkans' defeat spread like wildfire. Other civilizations, long wary of Earth's supposed weakness, took note. The humans, once dismissed as primitive, were now respected, even feared. Whispers circulated among star councils. "Do not underestimate Earth. Do not ignore the blue planet." Alien historians later wrote of the event as the extinction of arrogance. The Arkans, once the most feared empire in the galaxy, fractured after their losses. Some factions abandoned interstellar ambitions, retreating to isolated systems. Others attempted to rebuild, but the memory of Earth's defense haunted them. Every Arkan fleet, every commander remembered the lesson. Never underestimate the unpredictable strength of humans. On Earth, life slowly returned to normal, but humanity had changed. Nations that had once argued over borders, resources, and politics now understood a deeper truth. Unity was strength. The planet had faced annihilation and survived. That survival was not due to superior weapons or numbers, but to the human spirit, the ability to think, adapt, and rise together in the face of impossible odds. Captain Elias Grant walked through the streets of a city now lit by calm, normal sunlight. Children played in parks, unaware of the battles fought above their heads, yet the legacy of the war lingered in every mind. Humanity had faced a species far stronger in technology, far older in experience, and far prouder, and had prevailed. Commander Aisha Rahman joined him. "They thought fear would make us submit," she said. "They thought arrogance would make us break. But we adapted. We endured. We fought with what we had, and we won with our minds, our courage, and our unity." Elias nodded. "And that is something no empire can ever take from us. They may have power, but we have each other. That is the greatest weapon of all." The remnants of the Arkan Dominion were scattered across the stars, their fleets in ruins, their morale broken. Some tried to spin the narrative, blaming their defeat on accidents or mysterious forces. But among themselves, commanders whispered the truth they could not deny. Humanity was extraordinary. "They are not just survivors," one Arkan officer said quietly to another. "They are something else entirely. The galaxy began to remember Earth not as a primitive world, but as a place of cunning, courage, and spirit, a world where the impossible became possible, a world that had turned arrogance into extinction. In the final days of the conflict, humans reflected on what had been achieved. No monuments were erected for the battles above the planet. No statues glorified violence. Instead, there was recognition of what made humans strong: ingenuity, adaptability, and the ability to unite for a common purpose. Captain Elias Grant and Commander Aisha Rahman watched the stars together, the battlefield now a distant memory. "We've proven something," Aisha said, "that even the strongest force cannot break the human spirit." Elias smiled. "And that lesson will echo across the galaxy. Other species will know to respect Earth, not for its weapons, but for its people. That is humanity's true strength." Years later, Earth entered a new era. Space exploration flourished. Alliances were forged with other civilizations who had witnessed humanity's defense. Technology advanced, but always guided by the lessons learned. Unity, intelligence, and adaptability were more powerful than any weapon. And somewhere among the stars, the Archon's memory lingered, a cautionary tale of pride, arrogance, and the danger of underestimating a species that refused to be controlled. The galaxy had learned that humans were not to be dismissed. They were resilient, clever, and relentless. The human spirit had endured, and through it, Earth's defenders had turned near extinction into a legacy that would inspire generations. High above, in the silence of space, the remnants of the Archon fleets drifted, scattered and broken. Once they had sought to dominate, to conquer, to prove themselves supreme. And once they had faced Earth, they had learned the truth. Arrogance leads to ruin when faced with courage and ingenuity. On Earth, the sun rose over mountains, oceans, and cities. Children laughed, unaware of the battles fought above. Yet every human who had fought remembered the lessons learned. Humanity had faced the impossible, and won, and in that victory lay the promise of the future, a species that would never underestimate itself, never underestimate others, and always rise when challenged. The war was over. The Archons were broken, and humanity had proven, once and for all, that their strength lay not in weapons, but in the indomitable spirit that would guide them among the stars.